Thank you for sticking around with us. This is where we're going to get into a little bit of a more interactive workshop. And it is my pleasure actually to introduce, first of all, one of our charter members. This gentleman is the chair of our mentorship committee for TiEcon SoCal. He also is the president of the Asian Business Association of Orange County. He has his business, Think AI, and is a overall fantastic guy and friend. He also is a pretty darn good golfer. I'd like to introduce Manish Bardia, and he will introduce the other people this afternoon.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ty. So as Jerry said, I met SBDC, Small Business Development Center, at ABOC. So ABOC is an organization also providing education to small business. And similarly, SBDC has a lot of resources. So at a stage, I have Roger Lloyd. He's the director at SBDC. And Fred Delariva, who is marketing consultant at the SBDC Center. Is that right, Roger?
That was perfect. Okay.
And one of the best session I had was done by SBDC hands-on, and that's the reason I said to Ashish, we have to have Fred come in and do this hands-on, because what he's going to do in next 30 minutes will be really helpful for us. I'll let Roger add more to that. Go ahead.
Oh, no, listen, first off, before we get started, you guys, how many have heard of the SBDC? Can you raise your hands? Not bad, actually. So about 30% to 40%. Okay, so real quickly before we get into this, I'm just going to explain who we are for those that don't. And if I was closer, I'd actually ask one of you guys to explain it, because you probably do better than I do. But this SBDC, Small Business Development Center, is a program that is funded by our tax dollars. And we use those tax dollars to provide consulting through amazing colleagues like Fred. There's about 140 consultants in just Orange County Inland Empire alone. And it's used just to help anybody to go to think of it this way, go to the promised land. Grow your company to wherever you want to go through a variety of ways that we consult with. So anyways, having said that, today, we're going to get into some interactiveness in regard to creating a video that Fred's going to do. Manisha's going to help a little bit with this. I had an AI company back in 2015. And I got to tell you, to get a room full of people to listen to AI back then, if I was lucky, I'd probably get a table that size. It really sucked, quite frankly. Now everybody wants to know about it. So, we've been struggling since January to keep wowing people. It used to be really easy. So question number one, how many people have used ChatGPT? Raise your hands really high as we get older. Our eyes are, okay, cool. Keep them up. Keep them up. Yes, it's turning into an exercise class. So do not drop them. How many of you guys have used I was going to plug you. ChatGPT and Bard. Keep your hands up, and if you drop them, if you don't use both, thank you for the two. What if we're going to do three? You're screwed, right? Because we're doing three now. So what about Claude AI? Keep raising your hands. Okay, cool. So, number one, so we can see that the hands drop a little bit. We're still good. Now, let's put the hands down for 1 second. Let's try something different. One of the areas that we notice is the way that people use these generative languages, right? And the generative language, I think Manish, if you kind of go along with me on this,
yeah.
Some people still use it as like Google on steroids. And the reality, it's not Google on steroids, right? So here's a question for you. How many people have, in one session, does everybody know what prompt engineering is? Raise your hands if you know what prompt engineering is. Okay, lower them for a second. Let's go to a different direction for a second. How many people have seen some of the Marvel superhero movies? Raise your hand. If all of you guys better raise your hands. They're awesome, right? How many people have seen Tony Stark? Iron Man, right? Iron Man right there. He's a little bit of an Iron Man. Strong guy. Okay, now, how many people have seen Tony Stark interact with Jarvis? You guys should all be raising your hands. That's just prompt engineering, right? That's all it is. He's asking very complex questions, run a mathematical model using the following algorithm to drive me up, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, it's just a prompt engineering. So here's the question. You guys should, now, having said that, does everybody know what prompt engineering is? Raise your hands if you do now. Okay, does anybody, raise your hands if you don't know now after that explanation. Good. One, stop. Just kidding. So, question number 1, Manish.
Okay.
Have you used prompt engineering in your business?
Yes.
In a single session, have you used it more than 5 times to continue a conversation?
Yes.
Okay, so 5. How many people in one section has used prompt engineering to get to an outcome more than 5 asks in the same session? Raise your hands. All right, let's go back first. Let's start with 1. Raise your hands if you use it 1. Everybody should go. Okay. Now, keep your hands up if it's more than 5. Did you do more than 10?
Nope.
Anybody done more than 10? Keep your hands high. Get that hand up high, my friend. Thank you. You know what? It's the lights. It's also our age. All right. We're slowly eliminating people. What about 15? 2 so far. Keep it up. Don't jump. What about 20? All right. We have, and 25. 30. Okay. Perfect. So my point is this, as we go through this, I want you guys to think about something. The most that I've done is 27. All right. And it was for financial analysis. So what we're trying to do with artificial intelligence in general is we're trying to get to the mindset that all it is a super smart individual that you can ask. Now, the thing that's interesting is people say all the time, well, it makes mistakes, or I see outcomes and this. That's true. Do you have a CFO?
No. I mean, my partner does that job.
You have a CFO, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to explain to your CFO what you want?
Oh.
Do they ever make mistakes and you have to try to go back and repeat it?
Yes.
Do they fix it?
Yes.
Welcome to the world of using prompt engineering, you guys. Okay? That's the challenge that we're seeing that we want people to overcome, is because it is technology driven, it doesn't get a grace, it doesn't skate along because it made a mistake. Is that a fair statement? Why? Our employees all make mistakes because they don't understand what's in our head. So people get frustrated. And I want all of you guys, if there's some takeaways before we get into the demo, is I want you guys to take away, just think of it as you have access to the smartest group of people here, and you can just ask them questions, and if the outcome comes, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to get a lot better. Little story real quickly. I was just talking with somebody. Who knows what IBM Watson is? Now Watson X. Raise your hands. Okay. Yep. So when Watson first came out, they uploaded the Urban Dictionary into the corpus to train IBM. Has anybody ever read the Urban Dictionary? What's inside the Urban Dictionary? Speak loud. Give him a mic real quick. Red, just grab him and come down here. Speak loud. What happens in the Urban Dictionary?
Just slang, bad words, curse words, origins of all that. Yep.
So think about this for a second. Has anybody had a child that accidentally heard the wrong word?
Yeah.
Can they unlearn that word? Can you pull it out of the vocabulary? No, right? If they use an improper word, guess what? That's there, right? And they think it's funny. What do you think happened when they uploaded the Urban Dictionary into the corpus? What do you think happened? It started spitting out swear words. Okay? So, just interesting little story, right? Did that mean that IBM stopped? No, they just kind of figured out it was a pain in the ass for them. So the point is, when we get away with this, and you guys are all interested, is that we have to leverage this, the component of AI, whatever is generative languages, video, it doesn't matter, imagery, we have to leverage it better. How many of you guys are using it for what-if scenarios financially? Raise your hands. Hi, I know, but I'm old. If you don't mind, I need to thank you so much for raising your hand high. Okay, so here's a question for you guys. The ones that raise their hands, that's good. The ones that have not raised their hands but have used AI, raise your hands if you've used AI, something in a prompt engineer, but you have not done financials with it. More than you. Raise your hands. So not everybody's using it. Here's a question for you. Why not? Why not? Anybody have a good answer for that? Never thought. That's a fair answer. That is a fair answer. That is the number one answer that we get when we consult with clients. Right?
Sure.
It's the number one answer. Number one answer is I never thought about it. I never thought about these things. So as we get out of this demo that we're going to hop into in a second, what I want you guys to think about is this. I want you to start to say the what if in your mind. What if I knew this? What if I knew that I could go and analyze all this information? What if instead of going and doing spreadsheets, I could just upload or just ask upload some financials, say, change my gross margin from 27% to 28%. What does that do to my financials? Because I used to, when I was in the retail world, I used to play that game a lot. Fred, you did too, right? Fred was in the retail world along with me in different businesses, but like years ago. And you always play your gross margins. You say, what if I could do the average ticket would go from
100,000.
well, average ticket. Let's say average ticket at McDonald's or whatever it might be, or even in your business.
$10.
What about your business, right? What if you could change your labor cost?
Sure.
What if all this, right? So, but yet we go through this big process and we go do this stuff. It takes a lot of time. I tried it in those 27 prompts and I got 17 different outcomes. I was able to analyze it. And also, really importantly, I verified a couple of things. I verified everything and I did find a couple of mistakes. So what? Because my CFO screwed that up a lot more years ago to a different industry, right? So it wasn't that big of a deal. So I want you guys to imagine right now the what if questions. And if I were running a business, if I were you guys, it was your business. I don't care if it's B2B, I don't care if it's B2C, I don't care if it's a technology, I don't care if it's retail, I don't care if it is international product, I don't care if it's e-commerce, I don't care about anything. I would come up with 10 questions today of the what ifs. If you could sit in front of the leading expert in the world, what would you ask them? And then I want you to put them into all three of the generative languages and see what happens.
But don't just use financials. For those of you who have been confused about Google Analytics 4 and what all that data can tell you, I challenge you to, this afternoon, if you got access to that data, grab one of those reports and ask it what that tells you. You're going to be shocked. Then ask it, what can I do to improve this?
Yeah.
And you're going to be shocked. It's much more than just creating an email. It's much more than just creating a blog. All right? It's going to be a very, very smart assistant.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Fred. Manish, you're on the same page?
Sounds good.
So, all right, before we get into the presentation, I have one more thing to go over. So, what we're trying to do as part of this thing is we have this thing that we have a roadmap of how we think the next 2 years are going to fold out in using AI to stay competitive. Because if everybody's doing, I'll use a, if we're all going to go into sports and we're all going to choose, pick a sport for me. Soccer. Who said soccer? Thank you. Do you have a favorite team? Yes. Who are they?
See.
Of course, right? Okay. So if we're all playing on the team and and everybody in the league takes steroids, did we just level the playing field kind of? Because we're all doing it?
It's what?
No, but if everybody does it, if our team just does it, nobody else does it, we're ahead, right? But what if the entire league does it? Now it's kind of, we're all using steroids, so it's a crass example. So we think that as people are all using these generative languages, that means that while the outcomes may be different, we're all kind of level safe, level playing field. So we've come up with this a little bit of a roadmap that we want you guys to think about, okay? Roadmap number one is blueprinting. So what the heck does blueprinting mean in this arena? Your turn.
What?
No idea? That was not fair. I put you on the spot. What do you think? Blueprinting. Guess.
I guess
Everybody stare at Manish.
you
while he
mean the
thinks.
roadmap?
Roadmap, yeah. So what it is actually is you're taking all your departments and you're looking at high value, low cost implementation, figuring where to start with using AI to improve you transform your business. Okay, that's what we think is number one. It's very simple, but it's a very simple concept, very powerful.
That's
But you don't know where to start sometimes. So you start with blueprinting. But the second thing is then, yes, creative prompt engineering, think of Tony Stark.
But back on the blueprinting, anything that's a repeatable task, it's a prime candidate
Yep.
for to get more better production from an AI tool.
That's exactly right. It's better production. So we go from blueprinting to prompt engineering, think Tony Stark, and the last one is apps. And Fred actually came up with this. I don't know if anybody else has. I wish you would have trademarked it. But it stands for Artificial Intelligence Platform Stacking. And that's what this is. What that means is we think the creative side of implementing or stacking different tools, because then we get to be more creative, right?
So these are ready-to-use tools?
Yes, the ready-to-use tools, but you're putting together like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You're using voice enhancement, you're using image enhancement, you're using video or whatever it might be, and by smashing them together, you're adding more creativity. And so when you go back to the slide for a second, Fred, the roadmap, we think as you look at these blueprinting, prompt engineering, you put these things together, that's how in about 2 years, we'll be able to be more competitive using AI, because at that point, everybody will be level.
Okay.
Probably by then, because the way we're speeds, right? Make sense?
Sure.
Okay, so now, if it's okay with you guys, Who's created videos for their business in this room? Raise your hands. Hi, you guys are really hurting me today. I'm old, man. Come on, thank you. You guys are kind. And how long ago did you create the video?
A year.
Go. Anybody else create a video from 5 years ago? You have. Was it a pain? It was a pain, right? Okay. So there's a challenge going on, right? If we think about it. Challenge is the following. We are ingesting more information through video than we ever have, and that's gaining more momentum than everybody. Is that a fair statement? You guys all watching? Especially if you go below my age, right? Or way younger. Video is the way we have to interact to get our message across if we're not in person, right? So 5 years ago, it was not really for small businesses. It wasn't, I don't know how who said that 5 years ago? You did, right?
Yeah.
Young lady, okay. So yes, you in the front, behind you. When I created a video, it was about 10 years ago, and it was $18,000. And the other problem was, when the video was done, we actually didn't like it. Right? We did this thing, it was a video game business involved with, and they started with like this library in the background, kind of saying, hey, if you go to this library's quiet, but the store you go to is loud and fun. And we looked at it and we went, oh, that sucks. 18 grand, but what do you think happens? You laughed because you know, right? You're screwed. You're stuck with the video. Or you cough up another $18,000, maybe it's a heck of a lot of money. So, how many people, I think you guys had three, how many of you guys believe that video is a good way to utilize to get across your message to your audience? Raise your hands. If there's anybody that doesn't think that's the case, you got to rethink it, okay? The reality of it is that's how you get your message across. Today, we're going to show you a video. We did one not too long ago, right? The World Korean Business Convention. We're going to showcase a healthcare company that Fred is going to show live, okay? And the reason we chose healthcare is because for some of you guys that are investing, or some of you guys that are startups in the healthcare field, one of the hardest concepts to get across is video in the healthcare, whether it's med device or healthcare software, right? It's a hard thing to translate on paper. It certainly sucks on a website, doesn't it? Right? Have you done that before? Showed somebody done a website, healthcare?
Healthcare video,
Yeah.
it's very hard. Yeah.
It's hard, right? Okay, so today we're going to show you guys how to do this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of why the speed is here. So, how long would it normally take to do a video?
1 hour.
Why do you hire somebody? But why? A couple of days, right? Why?
Takes them long.
So, okay, so this is really important because that's actually the right thing to do, or it was. But check this out. It takes you a certain amount of time to get your video message across to the person you hire, right? And they usually they don't get it perfect. It's impossible to get in our heads, right? Impossible. I know Manish very well, okay? He's a good friend. I really appreciate him. I still can't get in his head. I can't get in your head to figure out. You have to explain to me multiple times. So, we're not saying get rid of video. If anybody's here having a video production company, don't worry. Well, you're screwed, but that's it. But what we're going to show you guys to do is by the time it took you to get your message across for what you want, you'll be able to create a video or multiple videos for multiple audiences. Because how cool is it if you're going to sell to a hospital, you're trying to raise money, and you're trying to get beta users to use your software to raise your funds? 3 different audiences. So technically, shouldn't you have 3 different messages? Shouldn't we have 3 different videos to convey our message? But until now, it wasn't realistic. Unless 30 minutes to go. Time to go to work, Fred.
Let's get
going.
Let's get time to Fred here.
All right, so as Fred does this, he gets nervous, so everybody stare at Fred.
No, I don't get nervous.
He doesn't get nervous anymore, but still stare at him.
So
Just stare at Fred.
I actually I looked up an actual company called Tempus out in Silicon Valley, and they are an artificial intelligence healthcare platform that helps connect doctors and analyze patients' data. What I did, I said, okay, for this particular exercise, I'm going to create my own app, and it's going to connect to Tempus. Okay, remember, Tempus is an actual app. So I said, I'm going to create my Tempus family. Okay. And so it's going to connect with the Tempus data, but it's going to focus on geriatric patients in India and it's going to help them communicate with their loved ones in the U.S. and their family, and so their family members can know how to support their loved ones using real-time medical data and help them monitor their loved one's health in real time. Okay? So I'm telling ChatGPT, help me create a 4-scene video promoting my app, create the voiceover and the images that I can use for my video, create the images using DALL-E, and make the images 16.9, photorealistic, and my target market it's India, and the images should reflect my target segment, okay? So I hit, and of course, it froze on me. Let's refresh.
Time out. Yeah.
Time out.
So Fred, this is a paid version
Yeah,
you're
I
using.
am using the paid version, 4.0.
Which you can, yeah, this,
All right?
Yeah, because I use free and they don't have images as of now.
The paid version is $20, and I think that is a pretty good investment in your company.
and Eric.
I'll try it again, because sometimes it happens. So as you can see, it's creating an image right now, but it's going to create so that's the first scene, and then it's creating the voiceover. Okay. And I'm going to tell it to continue and create the rest of them.
That's $20 to lifetime.
A month. A month.
It's not the piece of bed that has to with it. Sad.
I think it's well worth the $240 a year investment. I use it a lot, several times a day. So as you can see, it created the first scene already. Here's the first, and remember I said that my target audience was Indian. All right. Then it's creating the second scene now. All right. Scene 3. And scene 4. And it looks like it forgot the other, remember what Roger said, sometimes your assistant doesn't give you what you want. It forgot to create the third and fourth images, so I'm going to remind it. Create the images for scenes 3 and 4. And if you have a typo like I did there, it doesn't matter, it still understands you. So just keep typing away. Okay? And so while it's doing that, okay, it already created the narration. So I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to take the narration, copy it, go to an app called 11 Labs, which is probably one of the better text to voiceover apps out there right now. I believe the cost is about $10 a month. Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to go to scene 2, copy that. Back to scene 3.
See?
And then finally scene 4. And in just a matter of seconds, it's going to develop the professional voiceover. You can select whether you want a female, a male voice, English accent. You can do it in other languages, and I'll show you that in a minute. So just tell it to generate, and while that's working, I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and see if it created the other images. So that's 3, then let's create image for scene 4.
Hit for 4, Fred.
Okay.
This is Sharma, living comfortably in her home in India. With the Tempest Family app, she effortlessly stays connected with her health data, bringing peace of mind to her and her family thousands of miles away.
It's still generating, so it's going to do its thing. But say, for example, you don't like the...
Across the oceans in the United States, Mrs. Sharma's daughter Anjali checks on her mother's health using the same app. In her modern kitchen, where cultures blend, Anjali finds comfort in real-time updates about her mother's well-being.
Okay. So while it's going to interrupt me again.
Despite the miles, the Tempest family app brings them face to face. A simple video call on the app, and Anjali sees her mother's smiling face. It's more than a call. It's a moment of joy and reassurance. Tempest Family isn't just an app. It's a promise of care and connection. With features like emergency alerts and personalized health tips, it's not just about monitoring health. It's about nurturing family bonds, regardless of distance.
How much money would you have to pay for a professional voiceover? All right. And did you see that inflection? Where it's a promise of care and connection, and it's slowed down, right? And so if you made a mistake, right, you can go back and change it. Say you don't like the name Anjali. Say you want to change it to something else. You know, I want to change it to Stacy, right? And just like that, I can change this to Stacy. It doesn't really matter, and it'll change the name. Or if you had a mistake, okay? Oops. Or you want to say, call us now, right? Say you forgot that. And again, you just hit generate, and in less than a minute, you're going to have a new voiceover. All right? Very, very, very powerful stuff. Okay, now I go back to ChatGPT, and I just simply say...
Mrs. Sharma living comfortably in her home in India. With the Tempest Family app, she effortlessly stays connected with her health data, bringing peace of mind to her and her family thousands of miles away. Across...
Okay, I'm going to stop it. Just you get the gist of it. All right, and then I just quickly just save the images. And I do have to warn you, it's still, image generation through AI is still in its infancy. You might see some mistakes along the way. You just have to go ahead and correct it. I've seen like 3 hands coming out of a person, 10 fingers in one hand, 2 right hands, no teeth. It's still in its infancy. You got to go back and tell your assistant to correct that.
But it
okay?
easily corrects it, right?
But it easily corrects it. Now check this out. So you're not done yet. You can use this particular message across different segments. So for example, I'm going to tell it, create the voiceover script in Hindi. All right? So now it's going to create it in Hindi. And I can then take, and I'm only going to take the first slide and bring it over to 11 Labs. And you can have, say you have target markets across the country, or across the world, whether it be China, India, Latin America. You can get that same script, have ChatGPT translate it, and then generate that voiceover in that language. Okay?
And also culturally aligned too.
And yeah, and also
Culturally, like, right for the different...
yeah, and then right for the different areas.
शर्मा जी से जो भारत में अपने घर में आराम से रह रही हैं। टेम्पस फैमिली ऐप के साथ वह अपने स्वास्थ्य डेटा को आसानी से जुड़ी रहती है, जिससे उन्हें और उनके परिवार को हजारों मील दूर रहते हुए भी शांति मिलती है। मिलिए शर्मा जी से जो भारत में अपने घर में...
Okay, so I mean, again, just to show you,
That was, how was that, Manish?
how
That was
did that
good?
sound?
Okay.
Right?
Good stuff so far?
Yeah.
We're not done yet, but that was actually,
not
wow.
done yet.
Fred's never got an early applause. That was actually good. Can we do that one more time for Fred? A little applause? All right, thanks. You guys are too kind. Thanks. That was good, Fred.
So now you got to put it all together, right? Okay. So you got to put it all together. Let's just select anything
Make
here.
the magic happen, Fred.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Hopefully you guys are starting to imagine how to utilize this aspect of your business as Fred's going through this? Or
I'm going to ask it to create a logo.
you want it to create a logo off the cuff?
Yep. Okay, so we can brand this, this app. All right. And again, what's that?
It'll think.
Yeah, no, it'll think a little bit, but it's gonna do it. All right, and so there's a logo. Okay. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna go back here, add a page, upload the image of the logo. I'm gonna say, just set the image as the background. Oops, I don't like that.
Down.
Okay, just match some of the brand colors.
Set.
Okay.
And
Then here, we can start uploading, oops. We can start uploading our rest of the images. Okay,
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait. No, it's not.
So far, it was about 15 minutes so far from when I stopped talking to when he started building. 10 minutes? Okay.
So remember, they gave me 10 minutes to do this. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be pretty good.
For 10 minutes, it's not bad.
Okay, so then all you have to do now is get rid of the stuff you don't like. Okay, I'm gonna upload the images. So in order,
So Fred, you're
Fred, you're just putting this in Canva right now, right?
I'm putting this in Canva.
Okay.
Okay, duplicate some other stuff, and then okay, this is here. Okay, again, I'm duplicating this since they only gave me, they took 5 minutes away from me. So,
My fault. That was my fault, yeah. Sorry, Fred.
all right, I'm gonna duplicate this. Okay, which one am I missing?
not.
It's okay.
Shall I do it?
Yep. Okay, so there is the template of the video. Now we uploaded the audio, okay, which is this one. Do it there, grab a little bit of music. Okay, let's use this one.
Yeah.
All right, again, let's see. Okay, now we can start doing transitions here. Okay, do some transitions. All right. Okay, let's see if our timing we'll have to correct some of the timings, but we can start.
Mrs. Sharma, living comfortably in her home in India.
Okay, so we're gonna have to move this a little bit here.
Yeah.
Meet Mrs. Sharma, living comfortably in her home in India. With the
And I'm trying to show you, correct some of the timings, but just so you can get the idea of what's possible in the 5 seconds that they gave me. All right.
Meet Mrs. Sharma, living comfortably in her home in India. With the Tempest Family app, she effortlessly stays connected with her.
And so you can start, at this point, you can start adding some of the captions, and in here. and start really getting your message across. Stay connected. Could be a good one. And you can even have the AI write you the captions for each slide. And all right, let's start again.
Meet Mrs. Sharma living comfortably in her home in India. With the Tempus Family app, she effortlessly stays connected with her health data, bringing peace of mind to her and her family thousands of miles away. Across the oceans in the United States.
I'm trying to get the timings right, but you get the idea.
Across the oceans in the United States, Mrs. Sharma's daughter Anjali checks on her mother's health.
Okay, so let's switch that around a little bit. Get some of the timing down. Get some of the transitions down.
Meet Mrs. Sharma living comfortably in her home in India.
Yep.
With the Tempus Family app, she effortlessly stays connected with her health data, bringing peace of mind to her and her family thousands of miles away. Across the oceans in the United States, Mrs. Sharma's daughter Anjali checks on her mother's health using the same app. In her modern kitchen, where cultures blend, Anjali finds comfort in real-time updates about her mother's well-being. Despite the miles, the Tempus Family app brings them face-to-face.
But you get the idea, right? So. And we did that in probably, 8-9 minutes? Now, if we had a little bit more time, we can get the timings correct, the transitions correct, the captions correct. Maybe we don't like an image, we go back and correct it. You can do a very professional video, probably just a little bit under an hour, in case you have a pitch, like a pitch deck that you have to do, a quick promotion, a quick elevator pitch that you have to do, just send it over in an email, try to get those callbacks. You can do that at your lunchtime, have it sent out. This happened this morning. I helped a client do one this morning. We had to cut our session short, and we met again an hour and a half later. She sent the email out using a video. While we were talking, she got a call from a prospect, which, she was really happy because it was a startup. So it's possible for you to start marketing your companies, getting your message out, looking professional at a budget.
All right, what do you guys think? Good? Thumbs up? Okay. So we have about 7 minutes left. Fred, let's go back to the slide of the top 10 that Manish wanted us to show in terms of some of the products that are out there that are available. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes.
Real quick, before you do that,
Yeah.
one of the things that when Roger brought up that you can keep asking things questions, what if I were to say, I'm happy with the video, but I want to create a social media campaign using the script?
Oh, yeah, this is cool. Forgot about that one too, right? 'Cause
Add
you have an
emojis.
asset. Now you have an asset that you can use.
Okay. So now you're creating a whole encompassing campaign, right? And you can do all of that during your lunch. All right, and then have an assistant post it and send it out. Once you do the QC on it, have your assistant send it out. You can be very, very productive in an hour using the power of AI.
Thanks, Fred. All right, so thank you that was good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Q&A. Q&A time. We'll go.
Yeah, thank you for the demo. It's pretty amazing. Right here. Sorry.
Oh, got it.
Thank you for the demo. It's pretty amazing. Just 2 questions. Can you do animated videos like cartoon characters and talking to each other and stuff? And the second is, can we do is it possible to do modeling and using models to talk to each other and stuff too? Or is it just pictures with voiceover? like actual video. Right?
So on the graphic side, I think it's still not quite there, Fred.
Well, you can do video. It's still not quite there yet. People are using it to do movies. It's doing a decent job, but it's still not quite there. There's avatars that you can do. You can actually take a picture yourself, send it into an AI company. They'll correct the lighting. You can send a 1 minute recording of your voice, and now you can do avatars of yourself saying whatever you want in whatever language you want in any kind of video. So it's not quite where you want it to be, but it's going to get there.
It's almost there. And what we've been told, or we're kind of following, you look at the speed of the transition, of how fast things are moving, how good they get, I wouldn't be surprised by February you could do it. I mean, that's moving that fast.
Hello, my name's Noah Fong, and I have a question here. Since AI is being trained on non-copyrighted data, can anything made using information from it be copyrighted? And what are the limits of using AI-generated content for profit?
Yeah, that's always a tough question that comes up, right? And so
There's actually, there was a Supreme Court case that said you can't copyright it. Okay, because you can't copyright images or anything like that. So it's still up in the air. And also, you have artists suing AI companies because they've used their images to learn, and so it's creating images like original images, like the ones they would create. So the artists are saying, if you use my knowledge to make it learn, then you have to pay me.
Yeah.
So it's still up in the air a little bit, but right now I think you cannot copyright stuff. Images, you can't copyright images.
But for now, you can still use it to generate profit or to advertise.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
somebody else. Yes. He's got the microphone right there. There you go.
Yeah. My name is Gunjan Bagla, and thanks for the very impressive demo. I was wondering, we still have to use multiple tools to get where we want. And it seems to me that soon enough, Canva will need to integrate these features into Canva itself, or Microsoft Word would integrate them, and LinkedIn will integrate them. And that's where people will be able to get the most value, so they're not having to stitch together all of these different functions. How far away do you think that is? First of all, is that realistic? And if so, how far away is that?
So an all-in-one tool.
Yeah, so it's funny, we talk about that all the time with some of the people that we kind of interact with, and that question, we're looking at time, by the way. So the kind of like back going to the years ago, if you go back to the days of Google, right, when we launched and we got out of the .com arena, there will be a landscape there's a rush right now of a landscape of all these little tools, right? And then you've got your big guys like your Canvas, you've got your, Runway AI, which is up there. That's not going to probably go away anywhere. It'll be bought. And so the answer is really, it's a tough one, right? When you look at it and say, are they going to integrate all of these new tools, and do they want to? So I'd answer it a different way right now. I would answer it and say that as you're evaluating the tools, because when you look at speed-wise, this is super fast, right? The value of this is insane. What I would be looking at more so is in the smaller companies that are not very large, right? The ones that you don't know about. I would be more interested in looking at the development side of things, and from an investment standpoint, which I'm not answering your question, but I'm kind of answering it, making sure that they're going to survive. Because I think more importantly, it's about what companies are going to survive the landscape as they're all jumping in, and whether your Canva purchases, Remedy or one of these programs and integrates it or not. I mean, that could be a year, 24 months, because you guys all know that on the investment side, there's a lot of money going into AI right now. And when there's money going into an industry, typically those companies are trying not to sell because they're all in that growth stage of capturing dollars, right? And then the shakeout occurs about 2 to 3 years later. Money dries up. And then all of a sudden, those ones that didn't raise, they're left in the landscape. And sometimes your Canvas or your bigger companies will pick them up for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and OpenAI recently, it's been about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That they integrated DALL-E into ChatGPT. That wasn't happening before. They integrated Bing into ChatGPT. Now you can actually build your own custom GPTs as well. Yeah. To answer your question, it's not here now quite yet, but it will be there.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. I know. So listen, we're around if you have questions in the back. So I want to wrap up. There's some recommendations or tools that Manish wanted us to share that are on the back. We're not going to go through them. The ABAOC and the SBDC are partnering up in January, and we're going to be launching a certificate program for AI. It's a 4-week program. By the way, everything through the SBDC is already funded, so it's no cost to anybody. It has 4 components to it, or 4 weeks. Generate a video, overview of AI, how do you optimize your website, and there's one more, and I forget, paid advertising, I believe. And it's in combination of group sessions, 1 hour virtual, and then one-on-one session per week to implement the strategy into your actual business. Okay, so it's a commitment of about 8 to 10 hours. It's limited to 20 people, and we just want to make people aware of it. I think it starts January 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. And if you guys are interested, please see Manish, Fred, or myself outside.
Yeah,
and thank you.
Just reach out to Ashish, and he should be able to get the information. So thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
Fred,
guys.
and